Hello. I've just come back from a wonderful holiday with friends in County Durham. We stayed in a large country house about 6 miles outside Barnard Castle. It was nestled on the side of a river valley, overlooking fields of sheep and cattle, woodlands and meadows, and soothed by the sounds of the nearby River Tees. Now, as is usual on our annual jaunts, we did a lot of walking. Though we're getting on in years, they were more of leisurely rambles than the 10-mile hikes of the past. But regardless of the slower, gentler pace of our walks these days, there is still that sense of discovery and adventure, the looking forward with anticipation to the destination, whether it be a waterfall, a ruined abbey, a castle, or a good pub lunch. But it's not just the destination that drives us forward, but the thrills of the journey itself, good company, reminiscences, the challenges of the route. It all adds to the experience. The Jewish scriptures instruct all Jews to make a pilgrimage to Jerusalem 3 times a year. And for many, this would mean a long and arduous journey, perhaps of several weeks. Unlike our gentle walks in Teesdale, in Bible times, their journeys could be quite dangerous, passing through hostile territory, prone to attack by bandits or wild animals. And so they would travel in groups for safety. And like me and my friends, they would tell each other stories to pass the time and keep their spirits up. The most powerful of these stories would be of the God who called them onto pilgrimage in remembrance of the journey that he had taken them from exile to freedom. Now, we have a number of such stories and songs in the Psalms, one of which I'm going to share with you now. It's Psalm 121. I lift my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot slip. He who watches over you will not slumber. Indeed, he who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun will not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. The Lord will watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore. As a collection, the Songs of Ascents, that's Psalms 121 through to 134, have one particular recurring theme, which would have been most important to travellers making an arduous journey. And that theme is dependence on God in a hostile world. It's here in Psalm 121, the first of the Psalm of Ascents. And over, the psalmist repeats the idea that the Lord watches over us, helps us, keeps us from harm. God's providence and protection covers not just the journey, but our entire lives. Now, the psalmist writes to encourage himself and those he travels with to reflect on the trustworthiness, the constancy, the power, the compassion of God, something that will lift up spirits on a dangerous journey. Now, Teesdale, where I was on holiday, is a mixture of river valleys and hills, rolling moorland and green pastures, steep gorges and waterfalls. And during any walk, Even along the riverbank, there is a lot of looking up, lifting our eyes to the treetops, to the hills, to the crags. So too, as the pilgrims made their way to Jerusalem and lifted their eyes to the mountains along the journey, mountains which could hide anything, they would ask themselves, where does my help come from? Who can we turn to if danger presents or difficulties come our way? And the answer, my help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Though God called them to make this journey to the temple, the journey itself was as important as the destination, because on such a journey, they would need to learn reliance on him for each moment of each day. And that was a lesson they would carry through into all the circumstances of life. God was not confined to the temple then, nor is he now distant and unknowing, unable to connect with his people. He was and still is involved with the day-to-day matters of our lives. There is certainty in this psalm about the source of their help. There is certainty in the assurance that help is available, and there is certainty that that help knows no limit. There is also significance in the lifting up of our eyes. We live in a world in which we are constantly bombarded with information, with news, with opinions, with opportunities, with temptations. World events can leave us feeling helpless and hopeless. The world around us and all the information thrown at us draws us inward into a small, confined world. We can sometimes feel that there is nothing we can do to change what is going on around us or avoid. We might well feel overwhelmed, despairing, pressured, small. When we are anxious or discouraged, look up and away to God, the one who is our helper and our creator. We tend to think of God as the one who looks after the big picture, steering the big plan of salvation, moving forward the progress of the church. And he does. But God can only achieve the great plans if he is also intimately in control of the little details. He cares about every element of his plans, every individual caught up in them. God cares about you and about me, right down to the tiniest detail of our lives. On Sunday in church, we looked at prayer, particularly at the phrase, ask, seek, knock. A reminder that God wants us to be actively involved in his big picture and in the minute details of his plans, to be asking for God's help, to be praying in line with his will, to be praying with shameless audacity, and to be battering at the doors of heaven because God wants to answer our prayers. And knowing that, we can have shameless audacity to keep on praying, keep on asking for the answer. God wants to inspire us with passion, with conviction, with reliance, and with faith in his good purposes for his world and his people. And he wants us to participate in calling on him for those plans to keep moving forward. And so can I encourage you today, whatever your circumstances, to look up and away to God and to bring your prayers to him. I lift my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth.